Hello, this is Simrace Connection, another live video. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Okay, let's start this here. I'm gonna start like in 1, 2, 3. We are live now. Hello, my name is Marcelo Pelayo and this is Simrace Connection, bringing to you guys the latest innovations, technology in the world of simulation or something like that. I always say this line in Portuguese, so stick with me. Today, this live episode gonna be about gloves, like Simrace gloves, but not really. I'm gonna be showing like mostly like the real deal. And it's all about sometimes like you buy like Simrace gloves, like I don't know, like in my opinion, they're really overpriced. Some like is really good, I think. Some is not. So I want to like kind of go through with you guys and show what I have and what I chose for myself and compare, with other stuff you can find out there. So yeah, let's start it. First of all, like, I never like really like to use like gloves before. And then I had like this Alcantara wheel. And first I didn't want to like kind of mess up the Alcantara, like our hands sometimes get sweat. I really don't have these sweat palms, like sweat hands. But like summertime, like it's inevitable, like your hand gonna sweat, or if you like, be like playing like for like long sections, your hand gonna ends up like getting sweat a little, even if you don't have like sweat hands. So like my first intention was like to have like gloves, like to protect my wheel, like to protect the Alcantara, like to conserve. Maybe I want to get rid of the wheel and sell and like be like in a good condition, so it's nice to have a gloves. But I really like never like really use gloves. So like in this first beginning, like I had like this kind of glove here. The one like don't have like the fingers. And I used that like for like my bicycle, kind of like a Peloton, but it's not. It's like a Nordic Trak, but like this indoor bike. So I had a this glove here. It's called like a gyro. I think I bought it that in the Amazon. I check it out later. Like I can like kind of show you guys the link if you guys like it. But say this like is like a bicycle. Let me get close so I can show you how it looks like the palm. See, it's like the palm's like it's kind of like a puffy. Here it's kind of puffy, It's like, again, it's like for like a bicycle. This material here, like kind of, it's not, I don't think it's Alcantara. It's like kind of, can see it's like kind of, I don't know how to call this material here. But it's really soft. And like this other part here is like kind of, I don't know, it's nylon. I don't know what is that. But it's very breathable. And that's what I used to use like for the bicycle. You see here, like have like these little plastic tabs, like can use like to pull like that down. But say it's very comfortable. And like these gloves here, like I wear like a lot, and can see like have like some wear, it's like it's not like kind of new, but it's really comfortable. So when I start like do my sim racing, like that, like 4 years ago, I used these gloves here, and I thought it was kind of good. You know what? Let me grab like my wheel and I can show you. Just hang on. I be back like in less than 1 minute. So here, that was like the wheel I used to like kind of, was like in my SimRig like for forever. I just like recently, maybe like I don't know, like a year ago, say recently, you know. But I upgrade like for the QR2, but it's not like from Fanatec. It's like from another place called Simub. It's like it's almost like the same. I think it's probably like the same factory in China, but it's less than the half the price of if you buy like from Fanatec. But that's the wheel I used to use it. And then she's like the Alcantara. It's like kind of, this side here looks kind of still like kind of pretty nice. But this side here, even like using the gloves, I don't know if the camera can catch it. But it's kind of a little rough. You know, like if I pass my hands here, see like the little, I don't know, like little balls, like, yeah. Feels like kind of weird now. So like now, you know, like the sensation like to touch this here is like, it doesn't feel good. This side here feels like kind of, you know, all right. But this, you know, like without gloves, like, I don't know, like a texture thing, it's kind of weird. So I must like wear gloves to handle this wheel. So yeah, so like you guys can see, it's like when you have like your fingers, kind of, you know, it's pretty cool, you know, but still like you're gonna get like some I don't know like your palm of your hand gonna have like oil, but maybe like oil for something else, right? Like you pass your hands in your finger in your face and get like some oils, you know, gonna get in the wheel. I don't know if like it'd be a big deal, but it's I kind of like it, you know, have like my fingers like that, especially like for the bicycle thing. It's kind of cool. So then I say, it's like, you know, I want to like get like a Simrace glove, you know. So I kind of cheap. I went to the AliExpress and check it out in the AliExpress and like try to find something like kind of nice and, you know, like for my SimRig. And I find this here. They have like different designs. I picked this one here. The brand called First Plast. And you know, like when you buy something, the size, like just so you know, is like extra large. If you hang on to the video or like come back and re-watch later, you know, I can skip it. Gonna have like chapters, so hopefully the chapters work correct. But I have like a draw. I draw like my hand. So I'm gonna get the tape measure and like gonna measure like my hand. You know, like, so you guys can use like my hand as reference. Say, you know, like my hand may be like exactly the same as yours, you know, like you go and draw and like and check, oh, is exactly. So what I have in here, what I'm gonna say to you, you might take that as the same. Say if your hand is smaller, you know, so you go like to a smaller side, like you kind of figure it out, you know. Your hand is bigger, go like to a bigger side. But you know, I have like I don't know, I'm like 6'11", like 1.85 tall. My hand's like I don't know, like say my hand is big or small. I think it's you know, like it's proportional to my height. But I don't think I have like a, you know, like a thicker fingers. My fingers kind of more like to the skinny sides. Not like super skinny, but it's not like a thicker finger. Some people have like really thick fingers. So all that, like, I don't know, like you have in consideration, you know, like when you thinking to do your purchase. But yeah, I find these gloves here, and honestly, it's like I think I pay more than what is right now. if I remember exactly, I think it was like, you know, like around like $5. I don't think it was more than $5, but it was like around $5. But it's like right now it's less than $2. It's like $1 something. But I'm gonna just kind of put it the gloves. Like the size here shows extra large. So like my hand fits like kind of really nice. You know, like fits like, honestly, like fits like perfect. These gloves here have like the stitching is like inside. It's not like kind of bad, but like when you have like the ones outside, you know the difference, so feels better. But this here is just fine. So, and you see here, like, you know, like the design, all these little colors here is like kind of, it's like a little rubbery, you know, like they attach to the glove. I don't know how, like they glue. I don't know how they do that, but it's to be like kind of not be slippery. And like you have like this Velcro here, you can go and like kind of tighten it up to your wrist. Doesn't like kind of bother, you know, like kind of the stitching side doesn't like kind of bothers your hand. Doesn't feel bad at all. It's like a really nice fit. I think like kind of look kind of pretty cool. You probably like saw these gloves here before, like, you know. Let me go close to the camera and show you guys. I'm sorry, it's like it's really hot today. I'm like kind of need to drink water. So, you know, like the sprinkles here, they are like kind of, like I say, like a silicone, maybe, you know. So it's kind of, it's not slippery, you know. And like when you grab in the wheel, you get like a good grip. And like when you look close, you know, looks nice, you know. But this material here is not breathable at all. It's like, I don't know, like a nylon. I don't know. It's not that great, you know. I don't think my hand get like really hot, but you know, like again, like when I'm gonna show the other gloves, when you try something different, and so you know the difference. But before, says like I bought this here, says like, yeah, you know, for $5, you know, like it's fine. Like especially now, for like I think it's like $1.39. You know, like $1.39 free shipping. You know, it's like it's unbeatable. You know, like if you don't have any gloves, like that's like be like an option. And like again, that's like one design. They have like a tons of different designs. Like you pick it up, whatever. You know, I just thought that'd be like kind of cool. I bought one. You know, I said like I want to see how it looks like, and if it's nicer, I go and buy more. You know, and like say when I bought this here, it was like this one here was $5. And they had like other models. I don't know, like different gloves. Some like was, I don't know, like 3 times more, like $16, $20. Others like kind of little cheaper, you know. Like this was like $5, $6. The other one's like $4. So I say, oh, that's maybe too cheap. You know, let me grab like. No, I grabbed like the $5. That's still like really cheap, but yeah, it's fine. You know, like it's for the, if you go like for the looking, if you do like a streaming, you know, like in, yeah, look kind of cool in the camera. I think the colors get kind of like a little bleach in the camera. If I be like I look in the screen right now. Maybe because the lights, you know, like kind of bleeds a little. The color is little more vivid than you are seeing here. But yeah, that's like from AliExpress, and like right now, it's like $1.40, $1.39, something like that. if let me show you guys close. The inside is not like, you know, like for that price, it's not that bad. See, it's like this here is kind of like a neoprene material, you know, like the things they use like for surfing. It's like a neoprene, so it's not bad. And have like the Velcro. This is kind of it's like soft, like a rubber, like silicone with the logo, and like have a Velcro. See, it's like Fist extra large. And like say, it was like my first time buying, like I didn't know, you know, I said like, oh, I honestly, I thought I like gonna be too big. I thought like my hand be like kind of large. I think they have like a chart, like kind of a little confused to understand, but see here, like have like their brand too. And let's see if I can see the inside here. Yeah, see like if I turn that upside down, or in and out, right? See, it's like, it's not bad. See, it's like the stitching, the way they do is like, it's not, doesn't hurt your hand, it's not like kind of bother. You know, like sometimes like the label like in your shirt, like kind of, you know, goes to your neck and it's kind of, yeah, bothers you. Like this here doesn't bother at all. But say the material feels like pretty soft, you know. Feels soft, but it's like, I don't know, like feels, to me, it's like it's too synthetic. But again, it's not like a bad glove, and for the price, like for $1, you know. It's like something like when I was purchasing this here back, you know, I think that was like 3-4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago. I was like thinking to resell. So I went and, you know, I want to buy like, I don't know, like 5 different gloves. I don't know now. I don't remember why I didn't. You know, I just bought one pair. But I think I ended up giving up that, you know. But like my idea was like, you know, like buy one, check it out, the quality. And like you can go back to, there's AliExpress, but you can go like in the Alibaba. And then like you can buy like a big quantity, and like you can like, you know, like you can even, I don't know, put your own brand. Like, oh, I want to do like Simrace connection gloves. And I go and put like, you know, like my logo. You can do all the customization, you know, in the Alibaba. But again, you know, like you have to check it out, the quality, you know, like, and I don't know, I had like some personal life problems too, so I couldn't go and start like a, you know, like do like a investment and try to sell, you know, like. But that was like my first idea too, you know. I used this here and then says like, oh, let me try to grab, and I saw the price and say, oh, I can like resell, you know, so cheap, especially now, like $1.39, right? So it's not bad. So then I found this here, like a Sparco. Let me open here, but in the AliExpress. That one here is like, it's much nicer. The, you know, it's like the stitch is like outside. I go like kind of close to the camera to show you guys, but they have like a different colors too. But that how look like. Let me go close to the camera. I'm sorry, like live streaming, you know, like I'm connected to the webcam, so it's kind of difficult to move around in here. No much room. But yeah, that's pretty cool. It's kind of like a silicone too, you know, like the branding here, like all like the design is like kind of silicone, like say Sparkle here, have the Sparkle symbol, logo, you know. And then is outside stitching, and you can check it out, the quality of the stitching. If you look to the sides, you know, like the finger, how look like, you know, like it's pretty cool, I think. Again, I don't know if that's like a Sparco. Sparco is just like a knockoff, you know. But say here's like the palm. So I have like this kind of silicone, the grip. It's pretty it's not khaki, but it's like really kind of grabs it, you know. It sticks it. I don't remember if you can like use your fingers here like to scroll your phone, maybe if you wanna do that. Here like have like this in compliance with FIA standards and have like a number here 80805622. That's like the inside material. So this one here sees like size 11, size 11, size large. So, and like 68% cotton, 5% whatever, right? But still missing, okay. 27% nylon. So 27% nylon, 68% cotton, and 5% SP. I don't know, what is SP? Guys, put it in there. If somebody knows, put it in the comments. But yeah, I bought a large one. So I think, remember correctly now, I think that was the first one I bought it. I bought this Sparco here. The price, if I remember right, was like below $40. I think it was like something like kind of like $36, something like that for these gloves here. But it's kind of, let me put in my hands. Fits pretty tight. To me, it like feels like, you know, couldn't be like a little bigger, you know, but fits like kind of like say like a skinny jeans for your hands. Again, you know, because now I have like a different size or different gloves. I find my preference, you know. I just try to save you guys to go to all this trial I went and to get like something you like it. Then fits like, says like the fits in my hand, like fits like really nice. Looks kind of like this, feels like a Spider-Man. Have like this part here is like stretched, so like kind of grabs like in your wrist. Like you see, I have like a watch, like doesn't bother at all. Feels like really nice. Feels much nicer, of course, than the $1 glove. Let me get close to the camera, you guys can see it. So the palm, how fits it, you know, fits like really nice. Say, you know, like my finger here fits, is like just right there. It's like just perfect. I don't know if I had like a extra large, you know, if you're gonna, how, I don't know, of course, gonna be like a little bigger, but I don't know if it's gonna be like that different. It's like my thumb here, like fits all perfect, fits like really nice, right? So I had this one here. The material like is breathable, you know, it's not, it's don't get like hot at all, like it's breathable. And I don't know, I think it looks nice too. I kind of like it. Again, like they have different colors. I think they had like a blue, like this red, like black, I think maybe gray. I kind of don't remember now, but yeah, that's like a Sparco, but like from AliExpress. Before like I started streaming, I went and checked the AliExpress website and I tried to like find it. I can't find it, and I don't know. It's like it's kind of confusing. This AliExpress, like, you know, I had a like account, it's the same email, like it's not there. You know, like it's different. Like I don't know. I have like 3 different accounts, same email. I don't know how, but you know, if I go on my phone, it's like one account. If I go in the desktop. It's another account. I don't know how this really works, but yeah, I couldn't find it. But yeah, by memory, if I'm not wrong, was like kind of like $36. Maybe it was 34. You know, I don't think it was more than 36. But yeah, that how much I pay for this here. Feels nice. And you know, I thought I like, wow, like spend a lot of money like in a glove. You know, that like, and this price here is like 4 years ago. Like, can consider put in consideration the inflation. So yeah, like stretch it. You know, it's not like kind of super tight. Like have like a like stretch, not a lot, but it's have like some stretching. Again, it's like feels like kind of like a skinny jeans coming in this bag here, pouch. I don't know how you guys call this. And again, you know, when you buy this glove, like when I remember when I bought it, you know, like the picture in the AliExpress didn't have the sparkle. They kind of blurred it out, or they kind of completely erase it, you know. And they kind of like, instead of like they spell the sparkle kind of misspell, you know, like, of course, right? I don't know. So I don't know if the same factory, you know, like in China, whatever, Paxton, whatever, they made these things here. So that's how they can do, like, to sell, you know, in the AliExpress. They cannot display, and then like probably like sparkle, you know, like, oh, you're selling my stuff here is like kind of 3 times cheaper. I think that what was, you know, like if you back in the day, if I went to the whatever, you know, like place, like they selling like kind of racing gloves, like that's not like a Simrace gloves, like a real racing glove. Was like kind of 120, the cheaper one, you know, and the price like can go crazy, like really like $300 for like gloves, you know, like. But yeah, so that's like a sparkle, but let's say a knockoff from AliExpress. Unfortunately, right now I couldn't find it. You guys can find it, but yeah, $36. Recapping here, like this other one, like AliExpress too. They have different designs, like inferior the quality, like not compare, you know. It's like, but it's like $1.39. So like, you know, for 36, you buy 30 gloves for price of this here. So then I went and, you know, like kind of I always checking the clearance things. That's how I buy stuff. I never pay like the full price. I'm super cheap. And I don't remember like the website. I gonna like kind of look. I have like the email I looking for. I think called Motorsport something. I don't remember like by, you know, right now. But yeah, I gonna go ahead and put in the link so you guys can go and check it out. They have a lot of stuff for like a real racing. You know, you can buy like the seat belts. You can buy, you know, like the nets. Like some people do, like, you know, the streaming. They have the nets. They have like the real nets. The nets can be like very expensive too, but they have ones like kind of, I don't know, like below $100. Doesn't look that great, you know, like but it's better than the ones like people make it, you know, or maybe like in the Etsy, gonna be like cheaper, and it's like the real deal. You're just gonna have like to have like the thing like to unlatch, that is very expensive. So this here is like a sparkle. It's like a real sparkle for sure, you know. It's not like a knock off. I should have like kind of put it like side by side to compare. But this one here have like few like difference. Let's do that, right? Gonna compare like the real and the not real, or the knockoff from AliExpress. So this blue one here, Let me get close to the camera. I'd just like to show you guys. So like the palm, you know, like this silicone, I don't know how call these things here, like make kind of sticky, you know, like to have the grip. Feels exactly the same of this here. See, the design is different, but feels exactly the same. This other material here feels exactly the same. So this one here is the knockoff from AliExpress, and I think I pay like $36, if I remember exactly. So this one here is the real Sparco, or you know, it's like a Sparco, you know, like official. The model called like Rush. This one here, the difference to like the stitching is like inside, like internal, you know, like so the stitch is different to the other there. So it's like if you look inside here, the size from this one here says like size 12. The one there I think is like say was like 11. I think this see if they have like the no, they just say it's like size 12. See the pouch too is kind of like different. The pouch looks kind of nicer compared to the, I don't know, like it's kind of same crap, you know what I mean? That's like the one like from the AliExpress. I think the model from that is probably like this here, Performance 4. I don't know, maybe it's not, but so that's the one like from that's the real Sparco. See, Italian design since in 1977. Have like a warning here, like a cancer and reproductive harm. From like from California, you know, everything like give you cancer. Sorry, no, it's kidding. Hopefully not, right? So yeah. So this one here is like the stitch is like inside, but the gloves like pretty similar. Yeah, that one size 12. This one here says like size 11 large. So this might be like extra large, maybe be like a large, little larger, you know, like 12, 11. If I fit, yeah, that one feels, is not, I have like some more room in my fingers. It's not like that much, you know, maybe like a millimeter. It's not super tight. Have like some more, little bit more room. And also too, the one there like is more stretchy. This here is not that stretchy. The other one there like kind of in my wrist. It's more like kind of tight. Doesn't bother, but this one here is a little more loose, to the loose side. If you look how it looks like, you know, like if you have a watch, this is like a small one, but like sometimes you're wearing like a bigger watch. So that's the palm. Say here is like the, you know, like my palm ends like here. It's like feels like really nice in your hand. But that one feels better because the stitching is out. That would be like my preference, you know, like that I know better. You know, like when you're gonna choose your glove, if you choose like the outside stitching, gonna feels nicer. So you see they have like Sparkle, the logo. It's kind of like a print in the material. Feels like kind of little fade even, you know, but that's like all like kind of, I think they print and then they cut it when they do that. I can check with my phone if you know, like you can use it, but yeah, that's the real Sparkle. And that one here, again, like I went and bought it like in the sale or like clearance. So this here from AliExpress, I paid 36. This here I paid $27. Of course, they had like other models, like was like kind of like more expensive. but this here was pretty good, like 27 bucks, like for you're buying like a real Sparco glove, you know, like that what they use like for like a real driver or real racers, right? So yeah, so this here 27, the stitch is inside again, like I think like the outside is feels much nicer in your hand. Okay, so after that I didn't really kind of like that much the, you know, how felt the this one here feels nice, you know, but it's kind of like a skinny jean, you know. Then the ones like with my fingers out, sometimes I think I prefer use that than this here. This here, like I really didn't use at all, I think, you know, like it's just feels like too unnatural, like this too, I don't know, synthetic, you know, the material. It's not that bad, but you know, like when you have something else, like you can tell the difference. So it's not that nice. So like I went and tried these are Alpinestars. So I have the how called like affiliation link. So if you guys, I have actually affiliate link like for everything here I've been showing from like AliExpress. You know, if you buy, not gonna cost anything extra for you, but you know, like I get like a little commission. Imagine like $1.39 the commission, like wow, right? Making like tons of money, but helps the channel. You know, it's kind of just like kind of nice if you buy using my link. But I'm gonna have the links in the description. For this other Sparco here is like I'm not have affiliation with this store, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw the link in there. You guys can go and check it out. But Alpinestars, you know, I got the affiliation link too. Again, like if you use my affiliate link, you know, I get like a little commission. So it's paid. Now they are paying me for do this video here, but yeah, if you buy using my link, it's like an ad, so I get like some commission. You don't pay nothing extra. You might get like a discount, but yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, so I went and tried these gloves here. So I bought this one here, and they sent to me. That looks kind of pretty nice, I think. You know, I like the color. Like again, like the palm too. Like it's kind of like pretty similar with the one from Sparco. Like the silicone here. These gloves here, you're not gonna believe it, but is extra large. Let me get close to the camera and show you guys. So yeah, so like, you know, I bought like a large from AliExpress, like pretty tiny hand, like it's not that bad, but you know, it wasn't my preference, you know. Then I went and bought like a Sparkle. The one there, AliExpress was size 11 large, the Sparkle size 12, but they don't say. It's probably like extra large, I'm not sure. But then I went and bought this here, and see it's like, I don't know if you guys can see it, but yeah, it's like extra large. And here say like a European size. It's like Alpinestar 355 820 TAC 1 KX V2. And here I have saying like, you know, what's the materials, polyethylene, polyethylene, what else? Cotton. So it's 42% cotton, 38% polyamide, something like that, and 10% polyethylene. Polyethylene is probably like this scrap here. That how the gloves look like. But you know, like I got that. I went and try out, put like my hand inside, and felt like kind of weird, like kind of. It's not, you know, like if you if you're gonna look, I don't know if you can see it, but see how like I show like in my Alcantara a wheel, you know, it's kind of start get old, you know. So this here, like see, like have this kind of I don't know, doesn't look kind of like a new, right? And then look, freaking hole like right here, like another hole like right here, and then like no, I gotta like piece off. So it's like wow, they sent me like a used glove, you know. I know I bought like clearance, but the clearance say it's brand new, no say it's used, you know. In the other pair, the other side looks fine, feels again, I think like you know, I try one side, like feel like kind of pretty nice, and the other side like felt like weird. So I don't know, like somebody you know had it again, like if it's still like looking the outside, looks like brand new. Like if you do like this here, looks brand new. I don't know if it's like it's defective. I don't know, but I contact the you know like the store and like says like oh you guys send me like a used glove. Even have like holes, you know. It's like oh how you say it's used? Have says like have a hole in the glove, and it's like I don't know how to describe this here. I'm sorry my English. But yeah, it's kind of peeling, you know, it's kind of peeling. And I have like this part here, like for the phone, kind of works pretty good. Here's like the design, the stitching is outside. But yeah, to make the story short, you know, like I contacted them and they're like, oh, because it's like a clearance one, we don't have like this color anymore. And I think they had a, you know, like a different size, but gonna be like a small size. So again, like, you know, like this is extra large, like feels like just, I don't know, to me, like feels perfect. That's what I like it, you know. I have like some room. It's not like kind of, it's all loose inside, but it's not super tight, you know, feels nice, you know, like a nice fit, I think. Have like a really nice grip. And like I say, oh, I send you know, I send back, you know. The guy like, no, just keep that. We send another one. So they didn't have like the same color. So I went and got that color here. It's like all white. So it's exactly the same. And like, let me show you guys the pouch too, if you guys want to see it. I'm not sure if you know, like I you know, I have like several ones. Like sometimes I take all out, like, you know, like I don't know if it's from different pouch, but this is the pouch. So I have like Alpinestars.com and still like have this here. It says like Tech 1 V2 glove, so it's probably the right one, right? Like a cart, so like for people like doing carts, I guess. It's much cheaper, I think. Even the other ones, like, you know, like in the clearance, it's still like kind of over $100. And this here, yeah, I think I pay like 26 or $36 for these gloves. So like that's the palm. The only thing is like, you know, it's like a white glove. See, like you get like a little, I never wash it. It's washable, but I never wash it. But it's like it's little, it's not dirty, but you know, it's like a white glove. Feels like really nice in your hands. It's like same thing here, like for the phone, you know, like the grip here is like, it's really nice. Look, I don't know if you guys can hear, you know, it's a really nice glove. Again, like extra large. And like when I put in my hands, see, it's like, if I do like this here, like have like a little room here. This finger here have like a little more room. This one here is pretty these two fingers like right there. This one here have like a little bit of room. This one here is right there. It's, you know, like how possible, right? It's like extra large. The other one large 11, the other 12, and yeah, like everything like seems like to fit just fine. But yeah, that's like my favorite. The black one and this here is my favorite. You know, it's like some people say, it's like, oh, why are you gonna, you know, it's like they trying to sell their own stuff. You know, I don't want to like say the brands or the company names, but that one of those strategy they use is like, why you want to buy like a real racing glove? Like, it's like you know, like I forgot like the name, but like it doesn't catch fire. No, you're gonna be in your SimRig, you know, you don't need a da for your glove, like your, you know, like be like fire. What's the name? Whatever, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Anti-inflammable, you know, but it's like again, like this here feels more. If you have like some chemicals, like be like this glove here from the AliExpress, and again, it's not that bad, you know, like might have like higher standards than normal people, you know, like a more picky, you know, but yeah, this feels just fine. And like say same price, right? Like 36, 26, something like that. You know, why you gonna buy $80, you know, like it's not like a real racing glove for $80 when you can buy the real deal for sometimes like 3 times less, you know? So yeah, that's the Alpinestars. My preference, I like it, that one best. Fits really nice, and again it's like extra large. Let's put it here on the side. Then I went and bought like a blue one. It's all like this, all like in the clearance, okay? And then like guys like have like things like kind of crazy, you know, like my, you know, like you have like a different size hands, like a smaller, but you know, like it's like always like clearance. It's kind of hard to find like the right size. Always gonna have like or too big or too small, you know, you have to be like very lock. But you know, like you can get like the, you know, like Alpinestars, like Sparco, like a real gloves, like for like sometimes like $17, you know, like below $20. This one here is like a little different from the other two there I showed before. Probably I cannot tell the difference, right? But it's like it's a little different, these parts here. That's the grip. It's kind of like the same stuff. Look, kind of I have like the sound here. Have like the thing like for the cell phone. That's the design. It's like the stitch. It's like same thing like this. The Sparkle, the one from AliExpress, and the other Alpinestars is all like outside stitching. Feels like really good in your hand. That how fits it. Feels good. And like again, like you know, like your hand doesn't get like hot. Think that like you think like say they're gonna make the gloves like for like a real racers, right? The guy's like a real racer, like in a racing car. They're gonna make like a glove like to the guy be like miserable and lose the race. No, they're gonna make something like kind of nice, like to improve his performance, you know. So again, it's like gonna have like a nice grip. Is of course wearing like a glove. It's like it's different. Like you don't wear anything, you know. Same thing is like in the summertime. You know, like you can wear pants too, you know, but shorts gonna be more breathable, of course, you know. Same thing, like you know, like you might wanna like have gloves with your fingers out for the summertime, you know. But even in the summertime, like it's not, you know, doesn't get like super hot. It's not bad at all. What I try to say. Maybe like some people have like these hot flashes, I don't know, like be like super hot, like so you might be not a person to wear gloves, you know. but I don't know, like probably like 98% of the population gonna be fine. So that's like I say a real glove, like let's say below $40, you can get like a real Alpinestars, you know. And I remember like you know, like in the PlayStation, if you're playing like Gran Turismo, I think they probably like sponsor, so like the, you know, like in the game, like the guy like holding, you know, like the hands in there, like it's always like Alpinestar. So to me, it was like kind of cool, you know. It's like, oh, it's like, it feels nice, you know. So you want to like be immersive, you know, like, so you want to like have like, you know, try to be close as possible to the reality. So why the gloves, you're gonna say, oh no, you know what, the gloves, I'm gonna skip it, you know, I'm gonna get something else, like a Simrace glove, you know. Why? You know, like, I understand, like, if the price, you know, like, you're gonna go on the website, you know, you're gonna see it's like Alpinestar, like, kind of $200, $300 gloves, like, it's kind of pretty expensive. But then again, you go look in the clearance, you're gonna see the same models, like, for, like, kind of pretty cheap price, you know, maybe not that 40, but much cheaper. Gonna be much cheaper than if you buy a Simrace glove from some company out there. So again, you know, think about it. You know, like you want to be immersive. You want to like have like a real gloves. You know, you don't want to skip the. You know, like I don't know, like the brand now, but it's like that's like my dream to be a steering wheel, but it's super expensive. It's it's like a Porsche one. VPN, something like that. You know, it's like a Porsche wheel. It's I think made in the same factory. They made the real Porsche wheel. So it's like they say it's like exactly the same. You know, like the replica and it's made in the same factory. Same thing like the one like from Fanatec, the BMW. You know. It's like that's not a replica, you know. It's like it's, you know. So you wanna do that, but then like go to the gloves and say like, oh no, the gloves are gonna skip that part. You know what I mean? Same thing like you go like to the seat, you know. You go and like you know like building your SimRig. I understand, you know, like things can get like really pricey, you know, but sometimes like it's better maybe you just like save your money and go and get like some better seats instead of, you know, like get like, you know, like a cheaper seat, because gonna be like, oh, first of all gonna be very uncomfortable, and you know like gonna flex, you know, like you braking, you know, like gonna flex and make the story short, you know, like you're gonna pay maybe like half the price of like the real nice seat, but you're gonna use that like maybe for like 4 years, maybe like 2 years, you're gonna have to replace it. So you're gonna buy again, and then you're probably gonna buy again the same one, you know, or maybe gonna buy a little better, you know. Now you already spend more than if you went in the first place and bought like a really nice one. You know, like I say, you can buy like a real Sparco seat, maybe like for $100 more than like you buy like a knockoff, like a, you know, like some Simrace company, like you know, like they make in China, you know. Or go, if you wanna buy that, go and look in the Alibaba or the AliExpress maybe, and buy straight from there. Like, you know, it'll be the same one with their brand, you know, but you're gonna save like probably like half the price of what the guys trying to sell to you. So I say like sometimes we have to be smart and don't fall like to these marketing schemes, you know, like these companies have, like try to pushing their crap to you. So I'm sorry guys. Moving over. Let's see. So like now you're gonna see like two the same. Why I bought like two the same? Cause that one here was the one I say I paid like $17. So I bought it, like I say, like, you know, I can like use maybe like, you know, like get like really bad, like I have like a brand new, or I can go and sell that one. I never did it, but I had like this thought in my mind. So this here compared to these other ones here, it's like a little different, but it's still like pretty good. Say the difference is like the stitching is like it's inside the stitching. It's like the difference of price, like kind of say like probably like a half the price I pay, for this compared to that. But I think one of those reasons is the stitch. But when I try this here, feels like really nice. Looks like really nice, like the silicone thing here. Let me get close to the camera. Like when you look from far away, it's like the dots, but it's not like this kind of like this strips here, like of silicone. And like, yeah, have like a good touch. This here doesn't have like the thing for the phone. If you guys have this problem, even the ones have the thing for the phone. Like I stop racing. Like I pull. If I'm gonna grab my phone, I just pull the gloves off. It's not a big deal. Like just take it off, use it and put it back. Again, like extra large. Feels like really nice, but again, I prefer be like the outside, but I don't know my entire life, like when I use gloves, like in the winter time, like a normal person, when I wear gloves, in the winter time, because we're not really like racers, right? I don't think everybody, maybe somebody is, but not the majority. So that's like Alpinestars for $17. Like you buy a real racing glove, like for maybe like a cart. Who cares, right? I just don't say it starts as a cart. Like I think all the F1 guys, that's how everybody starts, like in a cart, But that's the glove I think they use for that. But it's really good. Or you can go and spend some more, Like I say, I'm like cheap, like I try to be below like $40, $50, So like this here, like for $17, I wouldn't say fucking, sorry, I couldn't say that, but I can buy 2 pairs. So it's really nice. The material feels like it's more nylon. Let's see if they have the... Well, it's the same thing. Like 59%. Oh no, that is all polyester. Okay. The other ones have a 59% like cotton, then this polyamide, right? And then the polyurethane. This is polyester. So that too, I think, is like what caused like the price, to be like cheaper, because it's polyester instead of be cotton. I think cotton gonna be more breathable, maybe, right? But again, this here doesn't feel hot at all, guys. Okay? Feels like really nice. I think like kind of cool too. Like a really nice glove. Like they stitch it inside, but doesn't bother at all. But doesn't have like the cell phone thing. And again, I don't know if I can mismatch the case here. So it's like I think I'll like say the same, like camo V gloves. Yellow, black. Yeah, Trak 1 Race V2 camo gloves. Extra large. Say US and Europe both shows the same. Like in the colors say yellow and black, I guess. And it's like it's made in Vietnam. You guys want to know like where it's made in? So we have that, and the last one I have in here. Look, I never even this one here I never try, I guess. It's still like in the bag. Okay, so be like first time, like unboxing. So it's like show you guys like how the like brand new. So it's like gonna be like inside the pouch, but it's gonna be like inside the, like a bag. Wow, like I didn't know, like I never I never tried that one here. So that's the outside too. The stitching. So it's like the palms, like kind of similar, right, to this. So that, yeah. So I think this is all the same. Probably, yeah, all this here is all the same model. That's my favorite one. Okay, this model here. So I have like a black and red, white and red, blue and black and green or yellow. I don't think that's yellow. It's like more like a green, like kind of shirt. Let me try first time. And like see the size. This one here for some reason looks smaller. No, same thing, like extra large. And yeah, look, it's like it's 42% cotton, 38% polyamide, and 10% polyethylene. Yep. Feels pretty cool. Feels really good. It's like a brand new one. Yeah, and the reason like I got these gloves here was because like was like really cheap. So like say it's like I probably bought like all these Alpinestars, every single one here for the price you're gonna pay like for like one pair of like a maybe a different model. Or when it's not like in clearance. So like getting stuff like in the clearance, right? It's like smart, I think. Like you wanna save some money and get like a good pair of gloves, like a real gloves instead of buy like say a Simrace glove. I have like nothing against like you do whatever. I see like some like I'm gonna say the brand because it's something like I would like to buy one or try. The one like from the Gomes GSI. I think like looks pretty cool. The one from Raisingveld. I think like looks pretty cool. But again, like I don't have I just like say that by the looking, watching videos. I never had the chance to try it out. Just like kind of seeing other people's, Just recently I watched like this video, like he's doing like some like first time, like I think like kind of like unboxing like the gloves. Like he went to Germany, like to the how you call the Simrace fair. Not fair, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like the sim racing, when the exposition. I don't know, like someone like in Germany. I don't remember the name. But the guy and the channel, I think is Fly. I put in the description. I put in a link his video, and you guys can watch it. So it's pretty nice, pretty informative. But yeah, he had like he went in the expo in Germany and he tried out I think like from Raisingveld. And he had a what else? I'm gonna remember all of it now. I don't like give like a weird brains, like I never heard it, like the people like say, oh, here, try it out, and gave to him. So like he says, like it's not because it's free, I'm gonna tell, what it is. But he never, was like his first time just trying the gloves. Basically, everything like fit like really nice to his hand because he had a try out, so he knew the sizes, all that. I think just, I think everything like felt like really nice. He had the ones like from the dude like Murad. Said like was like nice too, but I don't think was his favorite. I think yeah, the one like I think the best one he had was from Sabelt. But if I remember right, like he bought that one. He paid like $120 for like a Sabelt one. And I'm not sure if the Sabelt one was like a real sim racing glove or was was like a real glove, like because you know Sabelt they make like things like Sparco, like for like a race, like for forever. So I'm not sure if his gloves was like a sim racing glove or was like a real glove for racing. But yeah, he paid like 120, but he said it was like the best ones. I think to me, like watching the video, it's kind of like this here, you know, like the same kind of look like the material here. If you compare, I think. So from my experience, like the Alpinestar, I think I think Sparco probably like have like a really nice, you know. I wanna try maybe something else. But the ones I have from Sparco, this Rush here, is not. It's a good glove, but it's not my favorite because now I have these other ones. This one here from AliExpress feels like really nice, you know. It's pretty tight in my hand. It's not like hurting or anything, but feels pretty tight. Now, you know, I think I prefer have like the extra row. So, summarizing here, like this one Sparco, I bought it from AliExpress. I think I paid $36. I don't really remember. And I bought this here from like it's not like a Sparco store, but it was like a motor sports store, but like kind of clearance and stuff. This Sparco Rush. And I think it was like kind of same thing, like 36. I don't know, like I want to shoot your heads. It's like, oh my god, you know, like I should have. If I looked before, you know, and instead of like what I did, like I went to AliExpress, you know, bought it and then I tried, and like you get excited, like oh, not more, you know. But I say I don't know, like I don't know, like kind of. It's like just came let me check it out, like the real, you know, like motor. I just like I think Google, like you know, like real racing gloves, you know, got like that website. I need to check it out. I don't remember something motor, of course, right? Something, and yeah, they had like the clearance, you know, like very good prices, and I got it. And I don't remember exactly, but I think it was the same or maybe like even cheaper than the one I bought like from AliExpress. I went back to AliExpress and got this here like for, I think I paid $5. Now it's like $1 something, like $1.40 I think. I had this here like before, like the sim racing, like for like bicycle, and then what I used like for like a good like 6 months I think. But because you know like my fingers was exposed, I didn't want to like still like kind of messing up the Alcantara, like my old Fanatec wheel. So the reason I went and bought like these other gloves. Then I don't know, like 3 years ago, like I got the Alpinestars. Now that I have like a Simrace, you know, like I'm doing videos, I have like this affiliate link with Alpinestars. So you guys, if you guys want to help out the channel, you know, you can use my link. And you can get like a real Alpinestars like for like really cheap. We're gonna go and look. I'm gonna go to the go sit down like now in the SimRig in the cockpit. But look, I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like the same. 6 Alpinestars, and I think if I put all the price together, it's probably like below like $200, and you can buy like one pair of gloves like for more than that. So if you know, like you go look for clearance and you'll be locked to find the size of your hand, you're gonna be good. So let me show here my hand I draw, and I go show the measurements. Excuse me. No, that is not my hand. Right there. So like I'm gonna go like in millimeters. You guys can convert, okay, if you wanna know in inches. But say it's like in millimeters, be like an inch and a half. 15 centimeters, 15 centimeters, like be 150 millimeters. I think that you guys measure. Same this finger, same this finger. This here gonna be like 2 centimeters, or be like 20 millimeters, right? Yeah. So like here's like 15 millimeters, 15 millimeters. This here like 17. This one here is like 2 centimeters or 20 millimeters. And my thumb here is 2 and 23 millimeters, 2 centimeters and 3 millimeters, whatever. I can do like real quick, like for who's in US. So be like 5/8, 5/8, 5/8, like 3/4 and 3/4. Then like, you know, like the hang, like this part in here. An inch is gonna be like 3 3/4. 3.5. And centimeters is gonna be like 9 centimeters or 90 millimeters. If I go like in the angle like this, I guess, be like 11 centimeters or in inches, 4.5. And like, you know, my fingers not like that thick, don't have like a really thick, but again, like not like really skinny. But like it's kind of the same around, I think. So it's like if it's this is 2, like this is 2. If I go like this here, that's what I think that's what I should do. If I go all around, like 6 centimeters, and like an inch. Just so you have like some idea, you know, maybe measure your finger, be like 2.5 inches. And I have like a video I made for my BavarianSimTec Omega Pro V2. That's the best grip. You're gonna see it right now in the cockpit. I just start turning the camera around here, because we're gonna jump to the cockpit and gonna check it out. Stuff in there. Yeah, that is the grip is like a silicone. I don't know if it's silicone, but yeah, I think so, right? So I can have it set it up here so you guys can see it. Kind of hard. Sorry guys, it's live, okay? Have to figure out things as I go. Try to kind of show more I can here from the rig. It's kind of difficult. I think in the OBS, like like in the screen, I'm gonna be able to put it like I'm gonna be able to put it the screen so you guys can check see better, I guess. But you can have the view too of the reality here in the cockpit. Give me a moment, we'll grab some other stuff to drink here. Keeping me awake. Turning the lights. The keyboard, the camera fell off. Let's see if I can put it somewhere else. I want to be in the way like you can see the wheel. That's so difficult. Oh, you know what? Let me try something else. Looks like putting here. We're gonna have like a better angle. Hold on. Be patient, okay? Again, I'm gonna try to have a better angle for the it's need like be like a little lower so you guys can see the wheel. How's that? Think that they're gonna work, right? Okay, so let's jump in the cockpit. Again, like you know, like gonna have like chapters, like you guys can like kind of skip it, because like this is like a live video, and you know that things happening as here. And I guess I can go to in the how I say, can like start maybe like iRacing. Like you can do like a test drive. Got the scene hub going. Let me start the iRacing. So for now. See if I can put it the screen I was talking about. Okay. So let's start with the AliExpress, like the cheaper one first. So if you go on the AliExpress, let me find. So here, you know, like I put it like if you guys can see. Let me make this box bigger. Again, guys, just like kind of stick with me here. Like it's all new to me. These things are still like kind of learning. Hopefully, this is like a okay size. I don't want to like kind of cover everything. I'm gonna cover my face because we don't need to see me, right? cover me, and you guys can see my feet. I really kind of couldn't see like my pedal. I have like the nice SimCube Ultimate Active pedal. It's pretty awesome. And the new passive pedal is like pretty cool. And SimCube 3 Pro wheelbase. And like this nice BavarianSimTec, like BavarianSimTec sent to me to test. And still even didn't like put like the stickers. But the grip here is amazing. I say you don't need to this glove, to this wheel here, you don't need to use like gloves. I just need to do like another thing here real quick. But yeah, so like you know, like you go like in AliExpress and like you know, and search for like Simrace gloves. Maybe we can like try to see if we can find the Sparco there. I looked real quick before like we started streaming, but I could not find it. The Sparco is in there. Let's go back. Okay. So you see like $8 for this here. This here looks like the one, like the same one I have, I guess. See, like they have like different designs. Yeah, that one's like, I think it's like a little different. But yeah, see, like they have a lot of different designs. They have like medium large, extra large, like $90 free shipping, right? So cannot go wrong. What I wanna say is like sometimes you're gonna buy these say it's like a Simrace glove from like I don't wanna say the company, don't wanna name any company, you know, to a negative way, but might be something like that. So like, why you wanna do that, right? So here's the one I was telling you. Look, the price is like it's like $1.31. So like, if you click in here, so that is the one I have. So like for like $1.31, this is like fist. Like I think the different model they have, like the different color. So like $1.31 and it's like it's free shipping. Yeah, cannot go wrong. Let's try to make this bigger for now. Like we don't need to see anything else, I guess. Okay, so like $1.31. Okay. So like they have like this one here, the fire one. I remember like when I saw like this a little more, so it's $2, $2.22. So like this different one. So I think all like look like pretty cool. This one's like a burger. And then one is like a different donut one. See like different donuts. And that's the one I have in here. So like for like $1.31, you know, you can go and get like a nice Simrace glove. So mine is an extra large, and the size in here is from small to extra large. So again, you know, like do your research and maybe use like my draw reference of my hand for like a reference. They have like a chart in here. Can like kind of check it out, but yeah, most likely be like a extra large. gonna be like too small. So yeah, so here's like AliExpress. So like again, like you can get the same one I have, or like different colors, It's not like, it's you pay like $1.31, right? Free shipping. So you know what to expect. It's not the worst thing in the world, but again, it's not bad. So then, let's check the Alpinestars. So like you go like, I'm gonna have like the link, but like go alpinestars.com. If you again like use my link, be like the same here, and I'm looking for like a promo code. If you have a promo code, like sometimes they throw promo codes. I'm gonna have like in the description, and you can take advantage. But I think most time, like when you buy things on clearance, the promo code doesn't work. Promo code is just like for like a regular price. That's for every place. But we kind of like focusing here in the like the cheap parts. But I'm gonna try like so see going auto and then gloves. Oops. So here the Alpinestar gloves, and then the karting ones, like the ones I have. See like 169. This one here, 119. Tank pass, see like tag 1, KX. They have like a different colors too. But like say 169, that's like pretty expensive. Again, like your pocket, you do like whatever you want. I don't care, But say this here, again, it's like not bad, right? Here you have to be careful too. See, like say here's like it's $50, not bad, right? But like it's youth, like for kids. Then you have like a regular size here, gonna be 59. That's like pretty similar to the one I have. Like this here. They have it here like for 59, and even more clearance. But this one here doesn't look like have the stitch. See, like it's different, like the palm. That's the one I pay like 17. I think that's the same model. But okay, let's just keep scrolling. So you guys can go and check it out. We're gonna see like 59. Again, like below, like it's like under $60. You're gonna get like a real Alpinestar gloves. Here's just like a little more. See, like 144, a little more. 3 times more, but again, like you can get like not even clearance. So like you may like can get even like a promo code and get like another discount. You know what? Let me filter here so we don't have like to look the youth stuff. It's like men. Maybe like if you're a girl, you might gonna look for the youth. It's probably like have to look the charts too, but like I think the girls gonna use like a guy's youth. Cause girls have like a hand, like it's really small compared, like gonna be like in here, like a girl's legs. Like girls really have like a small legs compared like to a man. So like see like this 59. But like the price is like the real the normal price is like 170, 144. Pretty salty, right? Like for to play a video game, not kidding. In your simulator, like you pretend you're a racer. That I say yeah, like get like the like the ones like sim racing gloves like for like a store for $40 instead of that. But I don't want to try like the 80 bucks ones, you know. So it's like 59. So like for $60, you can get like a real Alpinestars. Here's like sold out. But you can like get like a real Alpinestars. See like the size, like they have a large, extra large, and two extra large. Again, like to my size of things, I'm gonna use like two extra large. Extra large probably like gonna fit probably almost the same little tie, you know. But I think large gonna be small for my case, where you guys can check it out. And they have a lot of other stuff, you know, like see like the suits, $700, guys. That's a lot of money, right? For like a suit, but see like this one here. Oh, this is a Simrace. See like even Alpinestars, like they make, you know, like Sim gloves, $56. You know, it's kind of nice. You know, like a short one here. So like I wanna try that. They send me. I make a video for you guys. It's like kind of nice one, right? That's like a Sim glove for a real company from Alpinestars. See how it look like the palm. Scroll here. Yeah, didn't work. Whatever, you guys can go there and check it out. But then, like, if we go and look in the clearance, we find clearance. Outlet. So go outlet and gloves. So check it out the price. Like, you know, again, like they make gloves like for a bunch of different stuff. But here they have like $20, you know. I don't know what stuff is that. And they in here you have like men and women. So I think they have like for women. So if you're a girl, you check it out woman, you don't have like check it out youth. So probably be like safer. But I'm gonna go here, like I'm gonna browse like men's. So this one here looks more like kind of like a race one, right? See the palm. So it's like, yeah, $20. $20 like Alpinestars. I think gonna fit like really nice, right? So what do you wanna do? Like buy like maybe like an AliExpress like for $16, be like really overpriced, right? Or you wanna buy like that? And they do, I think, like for like a motor bicycles. So it's probably like something like this here. But I try to find the race ones. This one here, you know, it's like not bad, like $30, 22. Again, like if you come in and check it out on clearance. Yeah, so that's gonna be all. They have like here in the clearance. See like this one here. 27, 31. All the rest. This here, 30. And they have like again like different colors. $34. Kind of like try to see like that's like for a bike. But again, like I don't know, like you know, like for a Simrace, you know, like instead of pay like maybe like $40 for like a knockoff, like somebody else company name in there. I would like get this here instead, like $19, you know, like under $20. But yeah, you have to go like in the outlet or, you know, see like motorcycle. Okay, we can check auto too. I'm sorry. So let's go like in auto and find gloves. Auto gloves. Okay. Okay, now, yeah, but that I don't think we outlet. See the price like 219. Okay, so here's like the regular prices. That what I say, you know, like the real gloves can get like very expensive, but then if you find that these gloves here in a clearance, you can get like for a good price. Auto mix motor bicycle Sparco. Go back here. Alpinestars. Auto gloves. Okay. Oh, I think from here we get to the outlets. Okay. Then outlets, then gloves. Okay. See here I find like something else. See like sale. So this here, like Tech 1 Race V2, like 37 bucks. It's pretty cool, right? Alpinestars, see like $37. 37. Maybe they don't have like the sizes, like see like extra large and 2 extra large. This would work for me. I don't need a more gloves, otherwise I'm gonna get one of these here. Looks like pretty cool, right? Like if you don't have any gloves, before you go and spend your money and getting something else, should have checked out this here. This is like a youth, so you wanna pay attention now. The one I was showing, see like that. The other ones here like a man side. There's a man. There's youth. Oh, there's youth. Oh, okay, on the top here. See here's like be like all like kind of man. So like $37. So I think that was the cheaper, you know. And then like for auto, and then you can get like cheaper. See, I have that for 20. Like the short ones here. So this here 67, like a youth, but it's probably like if you get like a manual, like over $100, like the regular price. Tempest. See, it's like this one here. Tempest waterproof gloves. Like you don't need like a waterproof, right? Like in a SimRig. But again, like kind of doesn't really change any. You have like a real glove. If you want to experience like a reality. Okay? So I think that will be the video. Like I should. Let me like kind of show like put this one here since I have my my lap. Let me close this window. Let me get the app for SimRig. Open racing. So if you guys want to stick in here, I'm gonna put it like one of those. No, what I should do, like, let me like do like the AliExpress one. Like a moment. As you can see, I'm gonna put like the AliExpress, like this donut one here, and go just like for like a quick loop. But like my first time to like kind of using these gloves here to using this like wheel here. And like I'm using these gloves, and I'm able to use my keypad here. Let's drive. Not really. Okay. This is off real quick. Move that out of the way. That's live. Right. So you guys are gonna be able to see my hands in the wheel. No. Pull back. So okay. So we're gonna go to iRacing. Why don't I wanna do that? Wait. We're gonna try Suzuka with these gloves here, cheaper one from AliExpress. Almost there. Excuse me. Yeah, I didn't thought I should like, I'm not gonna use OBS crap, but I think you guys can like have like a view while I'm doing. Not really, right? I don't guys see this screen. How I can do this. Screw it. So you guys can see like my hand in the wheels, okay? I'm gonna like, I'm like in Suzuka, maybe like I do like the other day. But yeah, I'm like in Suzuka. Right time. I just wanna tell like how it feels like with my wheel. Again, like this wheel here, this is iRacing, okay? That's my I don't know why I'm like racing the body. Well, like if I try to grab like the logs here, you're just flying. I get like a $1, you know, it's not bad. Can be like really peaky. But yeah, that do the job. Whoa. So that's the active pedal, guys. So yeah, like a dollar glove, like, you know, do the job. You know, I just did like a lap, you know. I don't know, maybe you're gonna be driving like for, you know, like a long sections. Might not be the ideal, but you know, if you don't want to spend so much money in the glove, you know, like have like a alright glove like this here, like for $1.30 cannot go wrong, right? You know, wanna check it out? Look, for this price here, you can go and get the all the models they have in there, like all the styles, right? So you can get this donut here, the other donut, the burger one, the one like kind of Mexican, can remain all the, you know, I think two more. So you probably can get like kind of more like 6 pairs of gloves for $10. You know, free shipping, $10, right? It's free shipping, you know, like so you go buy, you may keep 2 for you, or maybe 1, and sell the other ones, or give like a gift, you know, like $1, you know, be generous, can be nice to your friends. If you have another Simrace friend, here, like a dollar glove from AliExpress. So like it's not bad, you know. So now let me try the Sparco. Let's try Sparco. The stitching is inside. And again, like this is a BavarianSimTec in here. I've been using those gloves. I don't think you really need a glove. The grip is sensational, but you know, like the glove is not bad either. You know, it's fine. But honestly, I like the sensation, the feel of the glove. But the thing, like, you know, like you can check, you know, like when you change like these rotaries here with the glove, like you know, like this is a high-end wheel, like it's a good rotary. You know, I have totally control, like the feeling I have in here. It's the same if I was using only my fingers. Yeah, I feel like it's all like it's normal. Okay, let's go. And you got the flag in the dog, making it difficult. Let's talk to you guys. We're here to check out completely sucked. I'm sorry. Let's restart it. Yeah, that was suck turn, but yeah, that was the Sparco. It's not the Sparco's fault, okay? It was me, I was not paying attention. Now let me try the one I say I like it. This is Alcantara here. My favorite was like this model. Yeah, it feels like really nice. It's not like super tight, it's not like loose, it's just like a really good fit. It feels nice. And, yeah. I will be maybe not today, maybe like few days. Because I know how to channel, use my name, and we don't pay anything extra. Don't pay anything extra for, but I get some commission that helps me with the channel. And this was Simrace connection, and we went through like a gloves, and it's like my final thought, like, you know, before I get like a sim racing glove, I'm gonna get like a real glove. Maybe like, you know, I can try for free, but I don't think I would spend my money, just take a chance, you know, if I can buy for the same price or half the price of like a sim racing glove, get like a real pair of glove. This year, I pay like 36 in the website you guys saw, like 37 or something. So I'm gonna be putting that in the description. Thank you guys for watching. And I think I see you guys in the next video. I think the next thing I'm gonna do here Gonna go around here and do like some cable management. Alright, thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye. Have a great night. Simrace connection. Not today, not on camera. You know more? How's that? Good? Thank you. Alright guys, good night. Stream ended. Out. Stop.